Hey everyone, I just wanted to send out a video. We're 3 weeks into our series, Prince of Peace. I don't expect sermons to change anybody. I do hope it changes how we pray, um, what we can expect from God, what we do expect from God. I have been praying for some of you guys as I hear about the things that you're dealing with, whether it's a lot of anxiety, whether it's relational conflict, stuff in your families, healing that's needed in your bodies. I'm praying not for just for those things to happen, for God's shalom to come to those areas, but I'm also praying for your sense of expectation, that yeah, God is a God of He is the Prince of Peace. He will step in here. He will do immeasurably more than I can ask or imagine. If there is anything that I can be praying for more specifically, please feel free to email me. Somebody told me like, hey, I get it, but how do you like talking about this past Sunday, how do you get those things to go from your head to your heart so that you actually feel that peace? I struggle with peace myself. That's why we're doing this series. This is something I need. Um, I will say a few practical things. I had mentioned a book called A Praying Life a couple weeks ago. I suggest getting it. I really do. I think it'll help your prayer life, and I do think there's a correlation. More prayer means more peace. I do believe that. I think I've experienced that. I think a lot of you have experienced that. More prayer equals more peace. The more you pray, and I don't mean like if you pray 27 minutes, then you're going to get more peace than if you were praying 26 minutes. But I just mean the more blocks of time that you can devote to pushing aside everything else, sitting with God, letting Him work in your thoughts, sift your heart, cast your anxieties on Him, the more peace. I really believe that. So the book of Praying Life, I think, is really helpful. Um, Secondly, we talked about questions. In week two, I shared some questions that helped me. Those questions really help. I got a text from somebody this morning actually who said I worked through those questions yesterday during a moment of not having peace, and they've really helped. So I would just say, you feel anxious, you get with God in prayer and you work through those. God, why am I anxious? What came up? Number two, what am I really afraid of? Write it down, identify it. Let God show you what it is. And then number three, what is it about the good news of Jesus that I need to trust in more fully? Is it that He's in control? Is it that He's um, full of grace and mercy? Is it that my identity is in Him and not in what I'm accomplishing? And then finally, like, is there a step I need to take? One step. I don't need to fix it. The results are in your hands, but is there one step of obedience I need to take? And then lastly, after this past week, Pastor Bill actually had said, hey, you didn't really dissect what it means to put your flesh to death and to be filled with the Spirit. And I could have expounded on that more, and I didn't. So he sent me a model that he uses. It's a few steps to kind of work through, again, in the context of prayer. And that's below. That's in the blog post below. You click that link, and it's just some things to work through. What does it mean to be filled with the Spirit? There's a few just kind of steps of prayer, if you will. None of these things are formulas, which is why I'm praying this prayer for us. And I'm going to just read it and end this video. This is from Ephesians chapter 3. This is the Apostle Paul. I would encourage you to pray this, not just for yourself, but for your kids. Pray this for each other. Pray this for me. Because if this prayer is answered in us, then I think everything else falls into perspective. Our anxieties fall into perspective. We're able to see the world, see ourselves, see other people through God's eyes. This is Paul's prayer. For this reason, I kneel before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray that out of his glorious riches, he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power, together with all the Lord's holy people, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. I pray that you would know the love of Christ, how wide and deep and vast it is, and that it would go down to the depths of your soul and drive out any fear, any anxiety, any dread, any source of discontentment, and replace that with his peace, with his joy, the confidence that you are loved so much by the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the creator of the universe. And I ask that you would pray that for me.